She looked over the lake and she saw that the T-Rex was even capturing the minmies and throwing them into the water. That's not how to store food, she thought. I guess his brain is just too little to understand what I was talking about. Oh, I wish there was some way I could save a dinosaur. She looked down near the dead Pachycephalosaurus, and then she saw that there was a pile of eggs nearby. So she picked one up and saved it in her pocket to take back to the 20th century. She flew off to see if she could find more dinosaurs to warn. She flew to a field where Myosauruses were gently eating flowers. They were just moving along in their normal way when Srebrenica came and landed in their field. She wanted to warn them. She tried to explain how they should try to save the flowers, put them in a big pile, but the Myosaurus didn't understand and thought Srebrenica was something to eat and licked off all her hair as if it were a flower. Ha 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 ha! This is a yummy flower, thought the Myosaurus. Srebrenica was disgusted. She was always losing her hair. She went off to rest before her long flight back to the 20th century. I'd better take a nap first before I go, she thought, and she lay down in the field of flowers. The Myosaurus came and licked her and thought, this looks like an egg. I better sit on it to hatch it. And the Myosaurus sat. Oh, I'm ready for a new baby Myosaurus. And she licked the egg, what she thought was an egg, waited for it to hatch. Pretty soon, she thought. I like being a mom. But then the egg woke up and it was Srebrenica. How dare you sit on me? I'm not an egg, said Srebrenica. I'm a person. You shouldn't sit on people. But the Myosaurus didn't understand. She had a very small brain, too. Srebrenica tried to explain to them about the asteroid that was going to come and destroy their world, but they just couldn't figure out what she was talking about. And then it happened. They saw an explosion far off on the horizon, and clouds of colored smoke came up into the sky. Srebrenica told them, "You're almost too late. Please gather your flowers while you can and save them." But the Myosaurus didn't understand. Srebrenica said, "It's going to get dark, and all your flowers will die." And it did become dark. And Srebrenica decided, I guess this is time for me to go back to the 20th century. So she picked up her skirts and flew away. It did become darker and darker, and all the flowers died, and it was so dark that the T-Rex couldn't even find any more plant eaters to kill for prey. And they all began to cry. They could see their end was near. They cried and cried in the dark, under the dark sky. Meanwhile, back in the 20th century, Charlie Crow and Patty Possum wondered where Srebrenica had gone. Will she ever come back, they thought? I don't know, said Charlie Crow. She's been gone a long time. Srebrenica came flying back and said, "Look, here I am. I'm back." But she was very tired, so she took a little nap, and Charlie Crow and Patty Possum fell asleep too. Then, when Srebrenica woke up, she remembered that she'd brought back the egg. So she brought it out of her pocket and gave it to Patty Possum to put in her pouch. "Maybe it will hatch," said Charlie Crow. And they all went to sleep again to finish their nap. It became dark, and in the middle of the night, the egg did hatch, and out came a baby Pachycephalosaurus. "Wake up, wake up, wake up," it said. "Look, I'm here, I'm here." They all woke up to greet the baby Pachycephalosaurus, but it was still nighttime, so they all felt sleepy again. The Pachycephalosaurus went back into Patty Possum's pouch till the morning. Then it hopped out and said, wake up, I want to start being in your century. I'm the only dinosaur you have." And Srebrenica said, "You're right, and look, my hair is starting to grow back. Oh, I'm so happy." This is going to be a good day. Patty Possum said, "Well, do you want your brother and sister to see this dinosaur?" "Oh, I don't know," said Srebrenica. "You better hide, Pachycephalosaurus, before they see you." So Charlie Crow stepped in front of the Pachycephalosaurus, and the Pachycephalosaurus jumped back into Patty Possum's pouch just in time before Hansel and Gretel saw it. Patty Possum decided to walk off and take care of her new baby Pachycephalosaurus secretly in the forest. Srebrenica went to school with her brother and sister that day, while Patty Possum took Pachycephalosaurus to a field in the middle of the forest and told it to eat all the plants there so it would grow up and be strong. The baby Pachycephalosaurus listened carefully and began to eat. She ate and ate and ate, and as the weeks and months went by, she grew bigger and bigger until she was as big as a tree, even taller than some of the trees. She went back to the house where Srebrenica lived and looked for Srebrenica, but Srebrenica was away at school with her brother and sister. "Oh, I'm so lonely," thought Pachycephalosaurus. "I wish I could find that girl again. And where's Patty Possum and Charlie Crow?" Srebrenica was just coming home from school, and she greeted her friends, and when she saw the Pachycephalosaurus, she said, "Oh my goodness, you've grown so huge. What are we going to do with you?" Charlie Crow said, "Well, she's too big to fit in your house. She'll just have to wander around in the forest where there are plenty of plants to eat." Just then Hansel and Gretel came along. The others had run back into the forest, but Hansel and Gretel called for Srebrenica, said, "Come on home. Mom doesn't like you to run away." So she did. She was becoming a normal person. But when the Pachycephalosaurus asked to come in, Srebrenica said, "Shh, go away. You're too wild now. You have to live by yourself in the forest." The poor Pachycephalosaurus wandered through the woods and the fields looking for another Pachycephalosaurus. But she was the only one in the world. She had to live a very lonely life. Her only friends were Charlie Crow and Patty Possum. But they were so little compared to her. It was hard to even bend her head down to talk to them. She did have a lonely life. One more time she came back to Srebrenica's house and called for her. Come out and play and be my friend." But Srebrenica had become a normal person then, and the poor, sad Pachycephalosaurus had to live the rest of her life all alone. That's the end of the Srebrenica story.